He said that what happened that day, the Mexicans were wrong. Was he right? What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today, I'm going to talk about something that to some may seem controversial. To me, it's only controversial if you get in your feelings. This is another video giving you a glimpse into prison life. This is also a glimpse into a private conversation that I had with a black man regarding some serious stuff. So this was in, I believe it was 1997. And I had just got out of the SHU. And I was in the chow hall. And I'm sitting at the table. I just come and sit down. And a black dude, an OG black dude, sits down on the same table with me, right? And I don't remember how it came up. I don't remember how the conversation came up. But it was one of those, you were in New Folsom? I remember, the riot happened in 96. So it's still fresh. And so we determined that we were both there in New Folsom. And then he asked me, hey, were you there for the riot? And I said, I was in that SEG when it happened. I said, remember the incident that happened with the Bulldogs, the Southerners and the Bulldogs? He goes, yeah, on the basketball court? I said, yeah, I went to the hole for that one. I was involved in that one. The riot between the blacks and the Mexicans happened about 4 months after that. And so he tells me that riot, he says, you know, y'all were wrong in that, this and this and that. And I said, why? He said that the day of the riot, he went to go talk to Bob. He says, you remember Bob? I said, the one that used to hand out packages? That was another OG black dude. I said, the one that used to hand out the packages? He said, yeah. I said, yeah, I know who he was. He said, yeah, every morning when I would go to yard, I would always go to the property window and I would say good morning to him and see what's going on. He said, the day of the riot, I went down there and I said good morning to him. And Bob tells him, hey, you know what's going on, right? You know what's happening, right? And he's like, nah, what's up? And he goes, the Mexicans are going to get off today. And this guy asked him, on who? And he said, on the blacks. So this dude says, well, what do I do? Because, again, he's a non-affiliate. He's an OG black dude. He was probably in his 40s, right? And he goes, so what do I do? And Bob told him, just go sit with the Christians. If you go sit with the Christians, you should be fine. He says, so I go and sit with the Christians. He said the riot jumped off. He said the Mexicans stabbed everything black on that yard that day. He said they were stabbing black Christians, chasing them around. He goes, I got hit, and I was sitting with the Christians, and he tells me that he lost a lung, that they took his lung out, right? And I was, we're having a conversation, and it wasn't a heated conversation. This dude was just, like, confused, and of course he's upset. He wasn't upset with me. He was upset with the situation, and he lost a lung. And he's blaming Mexicans for losing his lung because they're the ones that stabbed him. And then I had to tell him, I said, instead of being mad at the Mexicans, you should be mad at your own people. And he said, why is that? I said, because that didn't just happen like that. Regardless of the lie that some drunk on YouTube likes to tell that a Southerner was slapped, no Southerner got slapped. If a Southerner gets slapped and accepts it, the Southerners are going to whack that Southerner. They're not gonna jump for somebody who's a fucking coward. But there's a drunk on YouTube that begs for money for liquor and then makes up story out of hate, makes up a lot of stories hating on Mexicans. And he likes to say it was over somebody getting slapped. It's not what it was. The tension all started months before I was still there. It was before the thing happened with the Bulldogs. And it all started over the weight pile. The COs had took the weights They had given them back, and then everybody agreed that nothing would happen. I told this story before. The Bulldogs decided to rush the Northerners on their weight pile. They took all the weights again. When they brought them back, they put a chain link fence around the weight pile. That cut the weight pile into less than half of the weights we had before they put that fence, because the weight pile went all the way down. When they put the fence, it had an enclosed area it could be in, and it was small. And when they put that fence up, that weight pile and that fence was all in the Southerners area and the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs were given a part of the area that once was the Southerners, so that the Bulldogs would have somewhere to kick it when they came on to B facility, right? So tensions started growing pretty fast because there was an unlock for the weight pile once an hour. And you had to get a card. It was a red card. You had to go to medical, and you had to get cleared. You had to do a physical and then get the card, and then you had to use that card to get into the weight pile. Again, it was once an hour. And so when they were going to do the unlock, there were blacks running to the weight pile to get their buff on. But they're running through Southern area, and they're running through the Bulldog area. The Bulldogs didn't really have any, they didn't care. The Southerners did. Just like the blacks would have gave a damn if Southerners were running into their area. In California state prisons, everyone has their sections, has their areas of the yard, and everyone else knows you don't go in that area. The only time you're going to go in someone else's area is when you plan on getting off on somebody. And so imagine you have blacks running through, and it was through the basketball court and through the dip bars, the pull-up bars for the Southerners. And there would be homies in the middle of a set doing pull-ups, and you have 3 or 4 blacks running towards them, and they drop down like, what the fuck, Holmes? And they're, oh, hey, sorry, SA, I'm trying to get in the weight pile. Those homies, they didn't have a leadership position. They had to go to the homies that did have a leadership position, like, hey, Holmes, what's up with this, eh? I was there when that happened. I was also there and went with individuals to speak to black leadership. Hey, man, what's going on with this, man? Like, dudes are running into our area. You know, we need to work something out. And so that riot, that was the main thing. It was the tension that was building behind not respecting the lines, crossing the lines and not coming to an understanding. There was that, right? And then what happened was the blacks approached the leadership for the South. And this is a true story. This is on my mom's rest in peace. So these dudes that talk that stuff that don't know, this really happened. There were a lot of people making good money on that yard, especially on the black side. There were a lot of people making good money. That trumps everything in prison. They saw the tension building up. They saw people were getting upset. Southerners were getting upset. War is going to affect their money. They don't give a fuck about a war. They give a fuck about their money. So there was some in the black leadership that approached the Southern leadership, and they said, listen, we know you guys are tripping right now, and if you guys are tripping over a debt, man, we'll erase all the debt. No Mexicans own any debts on this yard right now. We'll just start from scratch. But we don't need to be doing all this, all this beef and shit. Like, we don't need to be doing all that. The Southern leadership said, okay, cool. However, there was a particular OG on the yard. I've already told a story about him. It was my homeboy. He had been doing time since the 70s. And this is another thing that I did not like. He went to the leadership for the Southerners. And he said, hey, what's up, Holmes? Are we still doing this? They were like, nah, Holmes, hey, check this out. This is what they said. So we're going to iron out this thing with the weight pile. And nobody owes any fatty on the yard. And I know there's going to be people that are going to say, well, I thought Southerners couldn't buy from blacks. They couldn't. That doesn't mean that they didn't. And It just means that they didn't get caught, because if they got caught, they were going to get whacked. So when they tell this dude, nah, Holmes, they erased all the debt, this and this and that, the older dude tells the leadership, so you're going to accept that? And they were like, why not? And he said, so you're going to put your career on the line because they're erasing debt? And they were like, what are you talking about? And he said, they put you on notice, Holmes. They know that we're tripping. So now, what if they're just trying to like make you let your guard down, and meanwhile they're getting ready and they're gonna move on us? If it gets back to the Bay that they talked you out of war over some dope debts and then they whack some homies, you guys are done, eh? And he goes, you guys do what you're gonna do, but you guys are gonna be done. So what do you think they're gonna do? War was declared. Vatos came out. There was a certain individual. His assignment that day, he brought out a brown canteen bag. It's like a grocery bag. A brown paper bag full of knives. Because when it's an incident like that, you don't let everyone know. Those that need to know are going to be aware. They're going to come out strapped. Those who need to know when it's happening will be made aware, and weaponry will be provided, or the option at weaponry. That brown bag was placed in a certain area, and vatos were told. Everybody was approached. Hey, Holmes, you know what's happening this morning? This is what we're doing, eh? Are you strapped up? Oh, you're not? Hey, you see that bag over there? Go over there discreetly and grab you one. And get ready. That thing could have been alleviated. It's just like the riot that happened in Pelican Bay. I've done enough videos on that. It should not have happened. And I had a discussion. I talked about it with an OG black dude after that riot. He gave me a kite. He lived downstairs from me. War is a breakdown in communication. I don't care if it's war in prison or war out here globally. International wars. It's a breakdown in communication. And you know who the breakdown is between? A couple individuals. Yet everyone has to fight that war. Again, be it in prison or out here. Prison is a brutal place. That dude, I get why he was upset. He was a non-affiliated black. He has no say. When the black leadership was pushing it to the side and pushing it to the side, man, fuck them essays. We'll still run through the area. We'll just keep telling them we'll work on it. We'll work on it. Well, you can only say that so long, and then that's what happens. And this individual lost his lung. A friend of mine, Shanky from Villa Boy Espasa, was murdered by the COs. People got hurt over what? Man, fuck them essays. And other people, man, fuck them vatos coming through here. They can't come through here. On both sides, it was petty ego. Prejudice, racism, underlying that. You go to prison in California, there's not many riots happening now because everybody's out. It's a different system. Nowadays, you get to look forward to your own people whacking you. It was happening before, but now they're making sure, for the most part, they kill you. You want to crime it? You want to be a gangster? You get to find out how gangster you really are in prison. There's a lot of dudes that were killers in the neighborhood. There's a lot of dudes that were tough guys in the neighborhood. And then they cheesed up when they hit the CDC. If you don't have balls and brains, It's a whole lot of dudes with balls in there. But can you navigate the waters? Can you see what's coming before it comes and put yourself in a better position? Can you outwit and outsmart and outlast? I know that's from that show Survivor, but that's really a prison thing. Are you built that way? Can you take someone's win with your hands? A gun is one thing. But hand to hand, knowing this dude has the same intentions as you, can you perform under the gun that mini 14 that'll knock a piece of meat off you if you're lucky? I don't know. But those of you that want to be gangsters, you'll find out the hard way. That's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out of here.